Today, we're talking about supporting parents of neurodiverse children. And I'm so excited for this episode because today's guest is an amazing woman who I met last year through NLP practitioner training. And I'm now working very closely with her and her team at My Therapy House, who do amazing work supporting neurodiverse children and their families. And our guest today is a trained speech pathologist with experience working with children and their parents across the globe. She's a parent coach, she's an NLP practitioner, and she's a podcaster. This lady's got it all. Welcome to the coaching circle, Dana Baltutis.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you for having me on.
I'm so excited, Dana, because you are a fascinating person and you're just one of these people who just gets stuff done. Like, I honestly, like, you just like every week, it's like right from practitioner training, because obviously you've had this business going, and I'll ask you a bit about that in a moment. But from practitioner training, you said, right, I'm starting up this other business. I'm coaching, and bang, there's a website, bang, there's a podcast, bang, that there's all this stuff coming out, and I just love it. It's the best thing ever. So let's go back a little bit though, Dana. Let's go back to what led you to start your business, and I'm assuming that's My Therapy House, and why is that important to you?
So, Tony, I grew up in a household that was very community oriented and many volunteer hours. And so I'm from a Lithuanian background. My parents were refugees from Lithuania, and they did a lot of community work, I guess, and that's how I've grown up. Community work, helping people. My dad was a very a leader in the community. He was a MC at every event. He was a JP, Justice of Peace. So I sort of got it from him. And my mum was always helping people, taking people in. We always had people that weren't part of the family at Christmas dinners, Easter dinners. So, that's in my DNA, I guess.
Mm.
And I'm Lithuanian background, but I was born in Australia. So I've had these both cultures together. And when I was young, I was sort of like having an identity crisis. And when I graduated from speech pathology, I decided to go to Lithuania and do some work there. So this was just when Lithuania became free from the Soviet Union in 1990. So I basically spent 7 years doing volunteer work with parents there.
Wow.
And that was just amazing because we worked with children that were in those institutions, tied up to beds,
Mm.
drugged. So we really worked hard to get those children out of the institutions and into community centres, community schools, back into their families. And that's where my love of parent work began, because I saw the power of parents and the power of parents that don't really have anything, because they didn't have anything and they had a huge, huge government, a systemic government, i.e. the Soviet Union, against them, and they made changes. And from there on, I thought, if they can do it, then anybody can do it. So I started working with parents more and more.
Wow, that is an incredible background, and realm of experience that you've got there, Dana. Like, I was getting goosebumps when you was talking about that, especially saying about these children being strapped to
Mm.
beds and drugged and all those kinds of things, because there has been a really um not that wonderful history for children and all kinds of people that have had whatever kinds of issues or health concerns or um you know challenges in life, and luckily we're seeing things like that turn around now. But yeah, and if you think about it, like 1990, I like to think that that's not that long ago.
It's not long ago.
But
It's not long ago at all,
yeah,
at
yeah,
all. And,
yeah.
these were children that were, they couldn't live at home, so the parents could not have them at home because the parents had to work and there was nowhere else
Mm,
to go for the children, and the institutions were not in the cities, they were in the outskirts of Lithuania. So it
mm,
was huge. Like, I love that time there, and I just remember going around with the media, and we used to have these cameras and microphones, and we used to like go in there in secret and, interview the children, have a look at the children. And that's when, things really, really started to change, because that's when people realized what was happening to these children with disabilities. And the
Mm,
parents started to feel like they were listened to, heard. And there was a psychiatrist there that I worked with very closely, and he was wanting to make these changes. And then the parents just started gathering, and they formed a group of parents. And again, that was really, really rare in a Soviet era, because you weren't
yeah,
really allowed to do that, right?
yeah.
So they defied all the odds for the love of the children. And that's something I've seen throughout my whole career. Parents will do everything for their child. And now, as I've been working with my therapy house, and I guess why I established my therapy house was I wanted a sanctuary, not just for the children, but for the parents as well. And my therapy house is that, because it's a house that we've converted into a clinic. We got council approval. It's actually my husband's family home that we converted.
Mm,
And I've got an amazing staff. I've got the team there with occupational therapist, speech pathologist, early childhood educator, community worker, admin, play therapist. We're all working together to support the children, but more importantly, support the parents. Because
yes.
I believe, it's like when you're in an airplane, put on, when they say to the parent, put your mask on first and then put on your child's mask.
Mm,
Well, that's basically what I believe. And I also believe, where you can see everywhere that I talk, I say it takes a village, because
yes.
we're all part of it. It's the children are not just the parents' children, they're the community's children. And I really, really believe that, maybe because I'm adopted. So I see that, yes, blood is important, but more important is community and the social structure around our children.
Yeah, I agree, Dana. I think that's incredible. And when you were talking about that sort of going in there and sneaking around to,
Mm.
get the word out and things, it reminded me of a I don't know where I saw it, but it was just recently. I think it was something I read, and I was saying about, there was a classroom, and the teacher was at the front of the classroom, and they put a fish, like flipped a fish out onto the floor, and it was just flipping around on the floor. And they left the room. They said, now everyone stay in your seats. You have to stay in your seats or you'll be in trouble. And the kids are sitting there and they can see this fish flapping around. And then like one little girl gets up and goes and picks up the fish and puts it in the tank. And they were like, oh, you're not allowed to get out of your seats. And, but the moral of that story is to do what's right,
Mm.
even if sometimes you're breaking the rules,
Mm. And
because the rules
change
aren't
really,
always the thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. And change really starts, I said change starts with me. I did a dissertation about change starts with me when I did a master's in London. And I really believe that everybody is a conduit to change.
Yeah.
So if we don't step up and we don't work on ourselves and we don't do the personal development, then we can't expect everybody else to be doing it. So really, of course, we need to help other people, but we really need to help ourselves first, and then we can help others. We can be in a better position to help others.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So, Dana, I'd love to know, because obviously, I'm a big fan of NLP, being
Yes.
training it and using it for quite a few years now. And I love the fact that the thing with NLP is that it very much uh, supports any other modality, and just in how we think and how we communicate and different things like that. And I think, I'm also one that always says, not all learning comes from one school. You can learn from different places and bring those things in together. So I would love to know a bit about, how you found because like you said, you've got in there speech pathologists and occupational therapists and play therapists and, different types of support people in my therapy house. How have you found that you've used NLP to come in and, I guess, enhance what it is that you're doing?
Wow, I think NLP is becoming part of our DNA now. We practice an approach called DIR floor time, which looks at individual profiles. And NLP also looks at individual profiles. So it really marries into what we're doing and what we've been doing up to now. I think before I did NLP, a lot of people would say, "Have you done NLP? Have you heard of NLP?" And I'd heard of it, but I really didn't know what it was about. And I said, "No, not yet." "Oh, you should do it. You should do it." And so last year I thought, "That's it. I'm doing this NLP. I'm going to see what it's about." And once I started listening to the tapes, as a speech pathologist with language and, looking at all the visual acuity, sensory acuity, I thought, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I really can understand this stuff, right? And that's what we're always thinking about anyway when we're looking at children. What are they saying? Because a lot of the children that we communicate, that we work with, are early communicators or are non-speaking. So for me, it was like, wow, this is even better. This is amazing. So I just remember coming to your workshop, and like, just when you opened your mouth and you said, "This is the physiology of excellence. Are you in cause or are you at effect?" And I was like, yes, this is where I really understand everything. And I think I started to put everything into perspective, so many of your learning, so many of the teachings of NLP and your teachings, you know, um, uh, perception is projection, am I at cause? Am I at effect? Is that a mind read? What are some of, am I a visual, have I got visual representations in my mind? Have I got kinesthetic representations? And I just couldn't get enough of it. And then, the timeline therapy and the hypnosis was just amazing for me, because I have done meditation absolutely in the past, but I love the fact that hypnosis is that and more, because it's all about suggestibility, right?
Mm.
And then when I did some of the phobia, shifting with you, and it actually worked, and I'd seen psychologists and CBT therapists and everything about my phobia. I'm 50 odd years old and nothing worked. And then with you, in 15 minutes, we shifted it. That, I was sold. So of
Yeah.
course I get back to the clinic, and I'm like, girls, you can't believe. And then, they're telling me, about this client and this child and this parent, and how can we help? How can I do? And I just found myself thinking so much clearer, and just being able to cut through the stories and go to the structure. So
Mm.
what is the structure of the problem? What is the pattern that the parent is in? How can we help the parent move on? How can we help the child move on? And I started to do more NLP, even with children. I started to, I did it even last week with a child, and he's 7. And he's like, I don't know. And I said, that's it. In this room, we can. And for children, because as I learned from you, that the unconscious, is up to 7, they're more processing in their unconscious world. I just thought, that's it. I don't have to explain anything to him. He'll just do what I say, right? And he was saying, I can. And he was cutting, and he cut the perfect circle, and he just couldn't believe it. And I was like, this stuff works. It works even on children, that, they're so suggestible, that, you just say, you can cut. You're cutting the circle, you can. And mum was so impressed. And I thought, yep, this stuff works all through the generations.
Yeah.
So, and then I see, I'm so excited about it. And then I got back, and I just remember chasing you around the workshop saying, Tony, you've got to come and help us with the team. Help me with the team. I need some of the sparkle and that NLP, just it's like magic. I'd like it for the team. And I'm really, really glad that we could make it happen this year. And you came to our planning day, and we've planned you to come to our planning days this year. And, the team is now having individual coaching, so I really love it as the tool, not only professionally, but personally, because I really believe, in order to be a good leader, I really need to support my team, not only professionally, but personally, because if they shift things personally, they can shift things professionally and help the parents shift, and that who help the children shift. So
Yeah.
that's sort of what I love about it.
Absolutely, Dana, and I love that you absolutely did that. You're like, "Tony, you've got to come
I did.
and work with my team." And I love working with your team because they're gorgeous people and, everything that you're about in your community, is right throughout your team. But I think, like, that's the really important thing that you were just saying there is it's about the language, right? Like, it's so much about the language because it's the words that people use create their reality more than it describes their reality, right? Like,
And yeah,
yeah.
and I think that that whole thing about, just, I've been doing, some work with some parents, and we've been doing some hypnosis for relaxation, because some parents never even felt that deep relaxation, which has
Mm,
been great. And that's been a really great tool for me to use with parents. But I think the really big shift for parents is when they realize that 95% of our behavior comes from our unconscious
mm,
and 5% is conscious. I mean, that is crazy, because we think, our thoughts bring about behavior, bring about change, but really it's our unconscious. And one thing that I really learned in the NLP training is that the unconscious doesn't do negatives. So for me, initially I was like, what is that about? What is that about? And then when, you start talking about, oh, yeah, I want to be skinnier. Well, that means that's not the right word to you. They're not the right words. So I think I'm still on the journey. I'm still learning lots. And I think for me, this is like a lifelong journey. It's not just you go to a course 7 days and there you go, you've got it. It's like anything. And that's what I love. And that's why, even as a speech pathologist, I think I've got pretty strong skills, but it's because I've been on a lifelong journey with speech
mm.
pathology. I've evolved as a speech pathologist. I've gone down different paths as a speech pathologist. And I think that's the same with the NLP technology, is that it's just evolving, and it depends, as you say, in the course we had people from very different areas,
Yeah.
and you can apply in many different areas. And now my husband, who works for the government, he's going to be doing the NLP practitioner training, which is amazing, because then as a couple we have frameworks to talk about. And I remember the other day I was saying something and he turns around and he says, "Is that a mind read?" And I was like, which is really, really good. And it strengthens our communication and our understanding of each other and the world. And for us to be better at, being, I don't know, true to ourselves and just really deepening our connection.
Yeah, I agree, Dana, and I think that's one of the big things that people don't realize until they do this kind of training is that, yeah, often people think, yeah, I'd love to come in and learn these skills and have better coaching and communication skills to work better with my clients, but it's actually the personal development that people get that blows their mind the most. And I'm the same as you. My partner has done NLP training, but he works in construction, but it just sets that framework of communication and understanding that makes such a difference. But the other thing that I really loved you saying there as well is about how you help your staff develop personally as well. And this is a really key thing because in any business, the success of the business depends on the people in it.
Mm.
And people with personal problems, whether they're at work or not. And the more that we do that work on ourselves, obviously, the better we can perform at work, but also the more we can help our clients evolve because you can't help people move past problems that you're not dealing with yourself, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I think when I did my master's degree, I really understood where. So I remember she was a business coach, my thesis tutor. She showed me like the Venn diagram. We've got the professional development and you've got the personal development, and it's the part in between that good businesses, really take care of. So
Mm,
of course, if it's going to be really, a personal issue or whatever, of course, people need to get help from outside. And, many of us seek help. I know that I see a psychologist as well, and I see this and that and the other. But at the same time, when I talk to a coach or my mentor or my supervisor professionally, I'm always bringing a part of myself into it, because the other thing is the work I do is about relationships.
Mm,
So, and we were taught in speech pathology school, keep your professional life separate, and sorry, personal life separate, and it's very professional, and you've got to have boundaries. Of course you do, but how can you connect with someone if you're just here as a profession,
yeah.
with a hat on? You really need to bring part of yourself. You are the tool of change. That's
Mm.
what I believe.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I believe that as well, Donna. Yeah, definitely. So Dana, I would love to know. So, like, we spoke a bit about My Therapy House, and you've got a great team there that's working with children. And I touched on briefly how you were like, okay, now I'm doing parent coaching. And you've always been doing a bit of that, but you've sort of moved into doing this as a bit more of a structured process. And so tell me a bit more about, parent coaching and how you feel that really helps your children, essentially.
So, like I said, like if the parent's not wearing the oxygen mask, then the child won't. So, that's the very first thing.
Mm,
And I see with a lot of parents that come, they've got their own anxieties, their worries. Doctors have told them certain things, teachers have told them certain things, and, their family members have told them certain things. So, it's about getting them to trust their instinct, because a lot of parents come, they know in their heart that their child will be okay.
mm,
They know they will be okay, they know their child will be okay. However, all these stories of other people come into their minds, and then they cause doubt, and then they're sort of like, what happens often is parents start shopping around for different therapies, shopping around for different people, someone to fix the problem. It's not actually fixing the problem, it's learning how to be with who you are, and accept who you are, and accept the amazing child that you have, because we're all neurodiverse, and I think it's with the National Disability Insurance Scheme that is becoming more and more apparent, because the budget is stretched. So obviously there's a lot of neurodiverse people in Australia. um, but I think it's more about the families, realizing that it's not the child being ready for the world, it's the world being ready for the child. And the only
mm,
way the world is ready for the child is we are part of the world. So we need to be accepting of our children, or if I'm a parent, I need to be accepting of my child. If I don't accept my child, how can I expect other people to accept? So,
mm,
really working through those issues of, what's happening here, where's the stuckness, why aren't they accepting, and that's all, based on that
mm,
timeline therapy. Why is there fear, why is there anger, why is there sadness, why is there shame, why is there guilt? There's
mm,
all these things that it's not just when they have the child, but the child brings out all these things, and
mm,
it doesn't have to be a neurodiverse child. It could be all children. All children are mirrors to us,
mm.
and they teach us so much that we're blessed to have them in our life, because they come up and they go, here, have a look, mum, have a look, dad.
Yeah,
Can you see that? And,
yeah.
that's quite confrontational, but it's a blessing as well, because people that some people may have never had that opportunity. So I see it as, if you feel like you need to do personal development on yourself to be able to stay with the angst, or the, I don't know, the discomfort of having a child that's different to someone else, then that's a good thing, because the
Mm,
more you're able to stay, the more you will be able to integrate yourself with the child, and the child into the world, and the world will definitely be more neurodiverse than it is now.
yeah, I love that, Donna, because I think, it's so true, isn't it? If as parents, we want our kids to have the best lives and have the best opportunities. And if there's something there that we don't understand, there can be, I guess, some guilt or shame or some worry, like, what did I do wrong, or what am I not doing right, or whatever that might be. But like you said, these are challenges that all parents have.
Yeah.
I know with my own daughter, there was times where I was just like, wow, like, I've often said that she's been one of my greatest teachers
Mm.
for what it inspired me to want to step up and do. And I think especially if we've had, like, a lot of parenting back in the day was, do as I say and not what I do, and children should be seen and not heard. And, a lot of this kind of stuff that we grew up with and maybe didn't have a lot of good role models for parenting. And
No.
so, yeah, I think it's great that you're in that space and really supporting people.
And I think it's, I really base my work on attachment theory. So if you think about NLP, so attachment theory is where you've got safe, secure hands, and the hands are the parent, right? So
Mm,
there's always, and then hands holding the parent are therapists or friends or family, whatever. So everyone's being held. So I really feel NLP for me is the hands holding me. I mean, you're the hands holding me, that's holding the staff, that's holding so it sort of goes on and
yeah,
on like that, right?
yeah.
And Khalil Gibran, who is a poet and an author, he wrote, I just remember, I always remember, he wrote that the children are the bows. Oh, sorry, the children are the arrows and the parents are the bows. So
Mm,
it's about, it's we the arrows go out into the world, but it's like how strong and how stable are those bows, right?
yeah,
So I love that. I love that analogy. And I just think of it all the time, that as a parent coach, I'm working to ensure that that bow is strong, that it's not, broken, that it's not wobbly, but it's strong. And so when the arrow shoots, it can shoot where it needs to shoot.
yeah, yeah. I love that analogy as well, Dana. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Dana, I would love to know. I mean, it's so fascinating hearing about how you're supporting, children and their parents and their families. And I know as well because, like, there's a lot of coaches and therapists and practitioners who listen to this podcast as well, who, maybe starting out in their business or been in business for a while, and you have, reasonable sized business with a team of like 10 or 12 people now.
Yep. 8, 9.
8,
Yeah.
9, yeah. And so can you tell us, if you don't mind sharing a little bit, what have you found has been some of the challenges in running your own business and, building a team of uh like a staff team? Mm.
So the first thing is to actually believe in yourself that you can do it. I was working for the government, and I just felt that that wasn't giving me what I needed. I felt that I had more to give. And I started very small. I started in a little room at the back of my parents' house, and I just remember, I thought I'm just going to be on my own. I'm just going to do it on my own because it's easier. But I really wanted the team. I'm a very much a team worker, and I could
Mm.
see that it really takes a team to support each other. So I don't think it matters what you're doing, and even now I have coffee with another coach because I am a team player. That's how
Yeah.
I do it. That's just my mode of operation, I guess. Um, and then, slowly, slowly, I built up another staff member, and then another one, and then another one, and it's grown from there. The other thing is that we work under tight regulations of the NDIS, so it's unfortunately it's not like we can charge whatever we want, but we have to be creative. Okay, so because I've still got to run the business, I've got to pay staff, superannuation, work cover, insurances, equipment,
Yeah.
lease. It just all builds up. And, so for me, it was really important to get a really, really good accountant that I can work with and who's compassionate and understanding and not just about the numbers, but understands about the vision. And
Mm.
he also helped me develop the vision. I've also worked with really good strategic planner that really came in and from the heart talked about what it is that we want to achieve. So that really brought us all together. So
Mm.
again, it could be like a group of NLP practitioners or NLP coaches doing it because it is really, it does get very lonely out there. And if you're sort of in your own mind all the time. You really, I feel that I always need someone just to check in, or I need to check in with someone, and to sort of, I don't know, question what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, because that just makes me a better coach, right?
Yeah.
But like during this Christmas holidays, we shut for 4 weeks. So finances, of those holidays. So, the finances ebbing and flowing, the clients leaving and coming. But I really believe, Tony, I really believe if you're in the right place, things will work out for you. So for me, I've been really, really lucky, or, I've been open, and I've attracted really great clients, really great staff. Yep, clients may leave. And initially, I remember when the first 2 or 3 left, it was like, oh my gosh, what have I done wrong? We've done nothing wrong. It's just
Yeah.
that that's their journey. So now I almost encourage clients to, go, if this is not for you, go and see what else is out there. I met, doing this podcast, I've been actually interviewing some of my clients, my ex-clients that I had, and their
Mm.
kids are really big now, right? And they've
Yeah.
come out on the other side, and they're amazing, and the families are amazing. The parents are really just looking great. And I just think, wow, this is, the way it's all worked out and the circle's gone around. Now they're helping me, with the podcast
Yeah.
and telling their stories for the other clients that are coming through, the other parents that are coming through, that are still in that very much that exploration stage, or that,
Where do we go?
figuring out. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the cash flow is difficult, but look, really, at the end of the day, I'd rather be just happy with my work than, I'm not working for the cash. I'm working for, it's like a vocation for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that, Dana. And I think, you said a really couple of really important things there around, working with an accountant, working with a strategic planner, because the fact is, when we're in business, and especially if you've got staff or even for yourself, you need to make money. You need to get paid
Mm.
out of it. That's, as much as we would love to do everything for free, unless you've got some other source of income, that's what you're doing there, right? And but I think what you're saying there about knowing the numbers really well and having that vision, and
Yeah.
knowing that it's a long game, right? It's a long game, and it's not just transactional. What can I get now? It's like, no, we're really contributing to something that I believe in, and, having that planning to really structure it and see that through.
And being open to whatever comes your way. So, we are really wanting another occupational therapist to join our team. We're really wanting this occupational therapist. We're trying to manifest this. But during this, we have landed this amazing play therapist, which
Mm,
that wasn't even in the scheme, but she is like an occupational therapist and more. So it's about being open to, yes, this is what I envision for the business, but if it goes down this route, we're okay, because we're still in the scope. Okay.
yeah.
I didn't envision that I really wanted, NLP training all this year. That wasn't in our budget last year, but we made it happen, because when I had a taste of it, it's like when I started DIR floor time. As soon as I had a taste of it, I was like, that's it. This is it. We're going down this way. So I think for me, I really believe, yes, it's about my personal growth, but it's also about my staff's. And I
Mm,
don't have contractors because of, for me, it's really difficult with the whole sham contracting. I've got to be really careful. I've got more, a control, if you like, and staff really know that I'm there for them. They are the asset of the business. People are the asset of the business. So
mm.
I really, put everything into, training my staff and taking care of my staff.
Yeah, and I think that really shows, Dana. And I like what you were talking about. Oh, we wanted this occupational therapist, but we got a play therapist. And I think you can be open to those opportunities when you understand what is your purpose and what is your vision,
Yes,
right? Because
yes,
it's the bigger picture. It's like, okay, what are we trying to achieve here? This is what I think that I want. But if something else pops up, someone else pops up, does that still fit in my purpose and my vision? If it does, great. And
Yes.
who knows what that leads on to that's even better than what you thought was going to happen, right?
And I think it's having the right people. So, it doesn't matter if you're working as an allied group, or a network, or a team or of staff. It's when I interview people, I think about, will you be able to have lunch with us? Will you be able to sit around the table with us? That is the
Mm,
very first thing. And it's so funny. That's the litmus test. Like, as soon as the interviewee leaves, we go, would we be able to have lunch with that person? Yes. Okay.
yeah.
So the next stage is, come in and shadow for 2 days. Come and see what we do for 2 days. And I think look, I really want to have the NLP coaching business as a side on to my therapy house, because I really feel not everyone can stay on the floor for long, right? So, because our work is quite physical, so
Mm,
I really like the therapists with their skills and knowledge to be able to then be working more with parents. So that's what I'm trying to set up. It's that long game. So
mm,
for me, I think, okay, will you be able to change with the practice, with the business, and will you be able to adapt, because that's what we want. We want someone that's going to be, I didn't want someone that as soon as I come back and go, oh my goodness, I've heard of NLP, and they go, what?
yeah.
None of my team did that, because they're my DNA, right? So they
Yeah.
were like, wow, we can't wait. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you so much. And then they had the sessions with you and they're coming back. Thank you. Thank you. I'm thinking that's really good. Because as soon as you have someone that's not your DNA in your group, it just starts to unravel things. And that's fine. They've got their own DNA to go
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's I can really see that. I know when I've run, the group workshop with your team and even in the individual sessions, the enthusiasm that you have and the belief and the vision and what they're all about, it just really shines through. So I think, you do that so well, Dana.
Mm.
Um, and so I would love to know, we've talked a bit about challenges and things like that, and we've probably covered off this next bit a little bit, but I would love to know, what is the most rewarding part of having your own business and the work that you're doing? What is it that, really keeps you going when, maybe there are some days where you're just like, oh my God.
Well, I've always said that I wanted to retire with people that I love around me, and that I love going to work because I love the people at work.
Mm,
And, like, I'm not retiring, but I love the people at work. I love their enthusiasm. I just listen. I sit at my desk and I listen to staff talking about the clients, the children. What's the best toy? What's the this? What's the that? Oh, should we try this? Should we try that? Oh, how are we going to support the parent? Like, I'm not there going, have you spoken about so and so? This is generated from inside, from somewhere deep, deep in. And
mm,
lunchtimes we try not to talk about clients, but it just comes in and people are laughing and they're joyful and they're celebrating, and I just feel the love of the staff for the people that they work with, the clients. To me, that's the joy. Like, I don't
mm,
need anything else. And
mm,
I always say to them, I want you guys to be, because I've been pretty well known in the sector, but that's not, to me, that's not important. I'm like, I want you to be better than me at this. Okay. I want the clients to come in and say, no, I don't want to work with Dana. I want to work with so and so. I want to work with so and so. Because
mm.
then I feel like I've done my job. And it's
Yeah.
coming. They want, the parents go, I don't like that lady. I don't want to work with that lady. I'm like, yes, that's so good. Not the parent coaching, but in the client thing, because they
Yeah.
see that the staff have got that real commitment, and they're just really just loyal to their clients.
Yeah, and that's such a great legacy um to create and know that that's been, I guess it's the thing that lasts long after you're on the floor or you're actively in the business or whatever, knowing that that still has been the outcome of the time, the effort and the passion and the love that you've put into it. That's incredible.
And I think the other thing that's really important, and it needs to be said, that you need to have continuity plan for the
Mm.
business. So, like, if something was to happen to me or my husband, like, we've gone and we've got our wills redone, and we've got like testamentary wills, and we've got a will for the business, because each business needs a will as well.
Mm.
So, the lawyers that we went through, they said, yeah, you've got your will, but your business needs a will. So, what's going to happen if when you go? So, it's not on hold, because if you are employing people, you really need to know that they're going to be able to keep working.
Yeah.
And then what is going to happen with the business? So, I want my staff. That's my baby, yes, but
Mm.
it's not my baby, it's the world's baby. So we do a lot for community. So I would like my staff to continue that. It's their
Mm.
baby as well. And that's how I treat the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. I've never heard anyone talk about that, having a will for the business. Um,
And it
I
might
think,
be worthwhile then, Tony, for you to get like a lawyer or something on the podcast, because it's a thing, right?
yeah, yeah,
And we
right.
pay quite a bit of money, but for me, I now know I feel safer knowing that, look, okay, I won't be here, but that's just the person I am. I want my staff to know that they are secure, you know,
Yes.
in every which way, even because people do get really worried, like there's amalgamations, there's mergers, people think they're in one business, then all of a sudden they're in another business. Now
Mm.
it's not a niche business, now it's a corporation. Now they're just numbers, now they're not people. So, I don't want that for my staff. I think that's
Mm.
really important.
Yeah. Wow. That is great. I love that, Dana. I'm going to contemplate that for some time. Yeah. Thank you for sharing
Good.
that. Thank you for sharing that. And Dana, I would love to know, because I know that we could keep talking all day, and we have previously spoken all day. Um, but I would love to know, what's something that you would really like people to know about, working with or getting help for neurodiverse children, or, the families or the parents that, could really help someone make a life changing decision.
I think it's important, and we've got like on the My Therapy House webpage, we've got family resources, and I've written a little ebook called My Therapy Journey, the Therapy Journey, and it's really, really important that parents follow their gut feeling, okay? Because there is so much chitter chatter, chitter chatter, chitter chatter. And my work is to break through the chitter chatter and really go down into the authenticity of the parent, because that parent does know what their child needs.
Mm.
But it's about having that confidence to do it. So
Mm.
that's why I really believe that, we do initial intakes, or I do initial intakes with families. I don't do them to get families on board to my therapy house. I do them to see, what does that family want? Do they know what they want? And how can they know more what they want? What questions can they ask? And in that little ebook on our website, I've put down all the questions to ask about, what do you want for your child? What do you want for you? Because you are going to be different to Joe Bloggs down the street, to Sally Sims down the road. And I think it's all about the unconscious. And that's why I love hypnosis, because
Mm.
hypnosis is something that really helps us go deep down and settle that mind. And I know for myself, I was looking and comparing, all these businesses were popping up and doing this and doing that. But everybody is unique. Everybody is amazing. And I really believe that all parents know that that is going to be their journey. And when they've grown, and you can grow out of the therapist, it's okay. You can grow
Mm.
out of the coach. Look, I've had supervisors along, I've had about 7 8 amazing supervisors,
Mm.
but, it's not that I didn't like them anymore, but I've done my learning here. Now I want to do some different learning there. And it's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. You don't have to have the supervisor, a mentor, coach your whole time. You don't have to have 10 at the same time either.
Yeah.
So it's about where you are in your life. And that's what I want parents to know. don't feel bad about leaving a therapy practice. Don't feel bad about not shopping around or just staying in one place. That's a good thing to stay in one place. Don't feel bad about not going and doing every extracurricular activity there is with your child. Your child needs downtime as well. They need to be able to just go to their games or stay on the couch or just stay in. Kids don't need to be entertained the whole time. I think there's a lot of pressure
Mm,
on parents for that now.
yeah.
It's okay not to, just quiet time and being time.
Yeah, and I think that is a big thing for parents. Like I know that even when I go to yoga classes, and there's some ladies that I see there, and I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you for a while, and they're like, oh, yeah, my kids have got this and this and this and
Mm.
this and this, and I just never have time to do the things that I want to do. And I think you do need to find that. Well, okay, you got to have some time for yourself, but also your kids got to have some time as well. Mm,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I
yeah,
think it's so important in this really busy, busy life, because what's going to happen when the child, they say, oh, they've got attention deficit disorder, or they can't sit still, or they get bored really quickly because they've not learnt it. That's like a
yeah,
muscle. That's a attention muscle we've got to train. So
yeah,
I think,
yeah.
and for parents as well, because we
Yes.
we need to train that too, because think about all the stimulation we're getting. As soon as we just have to stand somewhere, what are we doing? We're on our phone. We can't stand, just look at the tree. Because if we
Mm,
stand and just look at the tree, we think, oh, people are going to think I'm like Mr. Nobody. I've got to, you're not pretending, but you're just being busy for the sake of being busy, which is not a
yeah.
good thing.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother conversation with that. But yeah, I agree, I agree, Donna. So I'll put in the show notes, I'll pop all your links and things where people can go to your website and download that ebook. That sounds amazing. And the final question that I'd love to ask you, Donna, which I ask all my guests, is because business can become quite consuming sometimes. And I know for myself, like I get so passionate about what I do that I have to schedule in other things. But what do you do for fun?
Tony, camping. No, I like nature is my relaxation, my grounding. I do quite a bit of hiking. My husband, my husband bought me a Garmin watch, and there's all these badges on it. So, like, he says, like, we've got to go and do 30-minute walk now because we've got to get the badge. So, that's something I do with him.
Yeah.
But camping is a really, really big thing. We bought a camper trailer. It was really great because Craig, my husband, he really talked me into it. I was a little bit skeptical, but he said, unless we get it, you're not going to relax. And he knows me so well. So basically, now I'm addicted to that camper trailer. But
Yeah.
since we've had the camper trailer, now we've gone down to just hiking tents. So
Ah,
now all we do is we walk in with our hiking tents, and everything is portable. So now I'm addicted to that. So
ah.
I'm getting more and more, I guess, more like a nature woman, you know.
Yes, we did talk about this group camping trip, didn't we, Donna? We
Oh,
might
we
have
need
to
to
revisit
go.
that.
We need to
Yes.
go. For all the NLPers, we'll have, but there's no, all the AD people, all the auditory digital people are on holiday.
Yeah.
So there's no, it's all the K's coming out, all the kinesthetic.
Oh, fabulous. Love it. Well, Dana Baltutis, it's been such a pleasure as always chatting with you. And I know that our listeners will get a lot out of what you share. You're such a generous, compassion, warm person and give so much to the community. And I'm so grateful to have you here. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. And thank you for everything you do for us, for me, for everyone. And you've definitely changed my life and my understanding of my business, my staff, my marriage. So, yeah, NLP is something magical. And the way it's delivered by you is amazing. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.